This trip to Italy, we started in Milan, then went to Verona, then Varenna, and then Como to round out our trip.
Okay, duck down. Go ahead. You almost fit.
Here we are trying to fit into a small door to our hotel room. After which we went and back to the main square and started checking out the Duomo. We had a perfect day to start exploring Milan. This area here with the Duomo and the shopping area was pretty crowded, but all in all it was pretty manageable and a really nice day to start our sightseeing around Milan.
Here you are on one of the famous walking districts, shopping areas. Turn around and can't believe there's stuff in front of it.
I know. That sucks.
There's, hold on a minute, let's sit down. The Duomo, very pretty, very nice.
I mean, assuming that was like the bad side of me wanting to go to church.
The highlight of Milan was, of course, the Duomo. It's an amazing church facade, so many statues. You can actually walk on the rooftop and see all the spires and gargoyles.
There's other parts of the Duomo. Is Bartholomew. No skin whatsoever.
Inside the cathedral is just as amazing. It's massive. There are 52 columns, each for 1 week of the year. Stained glass is some of the largest in the world. And two of the other highlights were the St. Bartholomew, who was flayed statue, and the Holy Nail, which is forever lit, little red light in the church.
Here is a picture of the Opera House Theater. With the flags up there. KFC over there, Italian.
evening, this area gets crowded with everyone going out to dinner. There are restaurants on both sides of the canal, and we had a really nice dinner ourselves that one night.
All right, here we are at the canal area. That was just the lock bridge there we were at. You taking a boat ride?
This was one of the most unique churches I have ever been in. The decoration is actually skull and bones. Of course, they first did it because they didn't have room in the area to bury them. Then they got innovative and started doing designs and stuff in the walls. It's pretty crazy.
Here's my other churches. There's an amazing little church here with all the frescoes.
This church's nickname is Milan Sistine Chapel because every wall, vault, and chapel is covered in vibrant Renaissance frescoes. In fact, there's 40,000 square foot of 16th century frescoes inside of this church. And one of the unique pictures is the Noah's Ark painting you'll see within this church.
Talking to her, going, do it. 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah, now see? Right here is inside the museum.
This museum is Milan's major national gallery of Renaissance and Italian art, and it's housed in this beautiful Palazzo Verona. We were lucky enough when we were there to see the Giorgio Armani exhibition. There was over 120 garments displayed among the masterpieces showing fashion as art.
Here's Hayes, the kiss. Canova.
As we like to do, sometimes we meander around the city and find local flea markets like you see here, which is a lot of fun. You get to see a lot of the local items that are for sale and food vendors. And then we made our way to this very unique Starbucks roaster house, which was pretty amazing as far as for Starbucks.
Roasting on. Different types up there. Alright, here we are at Verona Castle. And here's the Siempre Park. That's what it's called. Got drinks over there.
The Castello Fresco is not just one museum, but a whole castle complex with nearly a dozen different museums. One of the highlights are the Museum of Ancient Art, and a bunch of medieval sculptures, armor, tapestries.
Getting ready for
There's
battle.
also a museum of musical instruments, all different sorts of guitars and pianos. There was an Egyptian museum, which is Italy's largest collection of sarcophagi and mummies. And there was also an applied arts collection, which had Renaissance ceramics, bronzes, and ivories, and also some tapestries.
All right, here we are at Verona. There's actually the place we go in, and the painting is straight ahead down there. There's churches here, but you don't really go in there. I thought you would. And here's the surrounding areas. There's our train back to Milan. Here's the main square again in Verona.
Verona had an amazing vibe. It sits on the Adige River in Vento in northern Italy. Has 2,000 years of history, lots of Roman ruins, medieval architecture, and Renaissance charm. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As you walk through the main square, you can feel the history of the place. As you look around, you can see the Roman influence in all the buildings. But the three main highlights really are the Arena di Verona, which is an amphitheater, the Roman Theater and Music Building, which is basically across the river. It's got great views. And then the Ponte Pietà, which is the Roman bridge. It was rebuilt after World War II.
Here's the Colosseum in Verona, and you can see the outside wall has been smashed down, so it left one part of it. And there's the rest. Here we are walking in the inside of the Colosseum, the Arena in Verona. Here's the inside of the arena, they call it here in Verona. A lot of school kids that are seeing, learning about their. Here's the video. Verona Bridge. And many other newer bridges. Here we are on the bridges. Cathedrals and here we are in a club car. Here is Verona, packed. Everyone's visiting.
We made our way to Lake Como to visit Varenna, Bellagio, and Como itself, all three of which are cities built right on the lake, on the mountainside with perfect views, a lot of cobblestone streets. We had lunch in the main square in Verona in front of the 14th century church. But the highlights were the old town area with the cobblestone streets and steps down to the waterfront. The waterfront had colorful pastel houses and tiny piazzas all over the place. There was also something called the Lover's Walk, short romantic lakeside promenade carved into the cliffs with trellises and flowers. It's actually one of the most photographed spots in town. Two of the other highlights were the medieval castle, which is perched high above Verona, and you had to hike up there, of course, which we always like doing. And then there was also Villa Monastero, which had the terraced botanical gardens. Once again,
like Lake Como. My house is on the lake there, and the old-fashioned boats.
I'm looking away.
Here is Lake Como at night. Sunset. Okay. Here we are doing our hike. Up to the Castle of Vincenzo. Alright, here we are. We made it to the castle. Night up there.
We had to work for this a little bit. It was a little bit of a hike to get up to the castle, which of course is built on top of the hill, but well worth it. Once you get up there, the views were incredible of the lake, and the castle was done up well with a lot of flags of the different families and coat of arms and things like that, so that made it interesting.
Here we are at the top of the castle. And way up that tributary is Lake Como.
Hold on, let me just do it.
You mean like a larger piece in this?
Yeah, I agree. I don't like this.
Also, there's no like watching these things figure it down.
Here we are in Verona in the morning, and we are making our way to the ferry. There's Verona at 7 a.m. Wow, that's been a nice day.
We took a ferry to Bellagio, which sits on Lake Como, where it splits into 3 branches, giving it all those postcard views. It's very compact, walkable, and packed with villas and gardens and cobblestone streets and lanes. 2 of the highlights were Salita Sobolini, which is Bellagio's most iconic step street. There's colorful buildings and boutiques. You have to climb all the way to the top and turn around and take some pictures. And then the other highlight was the waterfront promenade. It's a tree-lined lakeside path with all the cafes and gelato shops and a lot of benches, perfect for overlooking the water.
Oh, here we are in Como, Italy. Here was the fast boat we took there. Pretty quick.
We took the Lake Como ferry to our next stop, the town of Como itself. The waterfront area was very nice. They had a bunch of old mansions with gardens that you could walk through, which we did, of course. And then as you walk through town, one of the highlights is the Duomo, with a lot of marble sculpture on the facade. And there's also a square for Volta, who invented the battery, big for us electrical engineers.
Como.
And then on the other side of town, you
This is
see
now
some of the
because
Roman
sure
walls and a
it's
Roman
gonna be
gate.
packed later on.
It's very pretty, basically it's a walkable city,
Sure.
very nice.
All right, here we are in the main square here. There's the Duomo. Nice. There's the... I know, it's embarrassing. Now I know lip syncing is important in TikToks. Alright, here in Lake Como. There's the funicular. There's one of the original Roman gates. Of course, this was the exterior of the city. Roman gates, the outside of the city. You see, here's the wall. Right, we are at Piazza San Fedele. The church here. Tourist group, of course.
Como itself, which was also great for a day trip. We think we had enough time. We enjoyed walking through the town, and their Duomo was pretty impressive also, and all the gardens, and also had a good walking path with views all around the lake.
Fresco, yeah. There's a little building there, made of brick. Once again, same thing. Alright, here we are. The gardens, there's an air club, football stadium, the yacht club, funicular.
From unique dishes like risotto amarone, peppered with pork ragu, and fettuccine with fresh truffles, to dishes that you know like linguine carbonara and ravioli, Italy was always delicious. And if you mix in the ornate churches, historic architecture, beautiful piazzas, and calming lake and garden views, our Easter trip to northern Italy was simply